So welcome to the round 3 finals in the Golden League 2, and we've got two very familiar faces here today with Beastie QT playing Malians in the yellow trunks on the top side. His opponent on Cauldron is Marine Lord in the red trunks on Rus. So thankfully one of these players isn't just going to play the same Civ every game in this series, but unfortunately the other is. But at least we're actually seeing a bit of variety in builds here because Beastie's opening with a barracks. Good on you, man. So we're not just seeing some boring 4 to 6 house and pit mine opening here. Seeing something a bit more aggressive. Different Beastie's looking to deny this dock. On Marine Lord, obviously. We go straight on the water here, doing a bit of fishing. Maybe we go for one of those nice lodger fishing boats, which will be a pain in the ass to try and kill. Especially because they don't have to come back to the dock to drop off. And I believe they are a little bit tankier than a regular boat. I could be wrong about that. I'm pretty sure they are a little bit tankier than a regular fishy boat. So, Marine Lord just barreling towards water economy. Going to get that first lodger and evacuate the Vils. That's the first Donsos here to harass the dock. It's a nice unique spearman unit that actually comes with a cooldown thrown attack. The javelin throw. So setting them apart from the other spearmen of the other civs, which is really quite nice. But it's actually a mechanic that I believe was first seen in Age of Empires Online out of any series in the game. So shout outs to Project Celeste for teaching the guys at Microsoft how to come up with new mechanics. Good on you guys. So Beastie doing a bit of harass here. We're wanting to try and bring down the dock before Marine Lord can opt to go for another lodger fishing boat, which means he's sort of forced to just sitting back for a minute, gathering all the food he can. Try and get a bit of wood so he can get his own gold gathering. Oh no, he doesn't really have to worry about gold gathering, that's right, he's Rus. A Civ even I can't fuck up the gold economy on. So in fact, really, Marine Lord's going to be fine to take 2 lodger fishing boats, and again, I believe they're slightly tankier than a regular fishing boat, and they don't have to come back to drop off, so you lose the dock, it's not really a problem, you can just keep fishing, and then, you know, just keep running away from the Donso. Beastie's going to have to try and park one in, like, evenly spaced around this pond in order to deny as much fishing as possible, and even then, it's not a given that he's going to be able to take down Marine Lord's fishing boats. So Beastie going to go up to 4 houses here, and I guess he's just going to try and get a bit more wood before he goes for this pit mine. I have to wonder if he was best off maybe only throwing down 2 or 3 houses and going for an earlier pit mine here. But I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Or does he? So, nice defensive Kremlin here. That'll give good cover for both the wood line, the hunt, and even one of the stone mines. Dock going to fall before Marine Lord able to really ramp up the fishing beyond this, but bearing in mind, again, these are stronger than a regular fishing boat. Actually a 2-pop fishing ship, whereas normally they're only 1 population. So Marine Lord well up on that eco count for the time being. Beastie going to go for a dock of his own. He'll be able to eventually take out these fishing boats and start his own water eco. Malians actually have a bonus speed boost for boats near their docks, which would be really nice even on a small pond like this, because that buff is pretty much going to always be up, even though it's not going to be a huge amount of travel distance until he's really only stuck with this fish left. In saying that, a Rus player can just convert his boats into warships here. Just make sure he stays outside of the range of the Donso. And again, regular spearmen, probably not going to be so useful in this situation, but the Donso, every time that spear throws up, they're going to be able to harass the boats from afar. And I mean, the Kremlin back at home, coupled with the starting landmark TC, it's going to be hard to actually try and harass here. In fact, Beastie, scout falling there, which would be a bit of a pain. You have to try and rely on bringing these sheep back very slowly, manually there. He's actually going for a transport ship, which actually does have an attack based off the number of units in it. Is that what's that scaling off? So Beastie going to be able to clean up the lodger ships with a single transport, which is quite nice. Marine Lord making use of his militia just to try and harass the dock a little bit as well. Looks like Beastie now going to be up on that water economy, while Marine Lord sort of giving him the space to go for second town centre here. Already on that stone, gathering, while Beastie still only in age 1, so he's actually trying to mine a bit of gold here. He can't actually afford to throw down his pit mine yet. On top of that, he's spending a bit of wood trying to get these fishing boats out to, you know, pay for this water investment of the dock and the transport ship. And Marine Lord trying to bring back the sheep, so Beastie's just basically lamed a bunch of them just to make it difficult to cost effectively gather from those. This militia going to go down pretty quickly against an outnumbering by those Donso. Marine Lord not going to be far off his second town centre. Beastie working towards his age 2 now. Obviously having to delay that quite significantly considering he's invested a bit more in terms of military early and in terms of his spending on the water there. On top of that, Marine Lord getting in and getting that little bit of gathering boost out before his opponent. So Beastie has the map control, but Marine Lord gonna be able to use a macro advantage now again, considering he's gone up to that second town centre, and now he can just go for archery range, pump out a couple of militia as he gets the supplies for him too, and he should be nice and safe to defend here really, because it's only going to take 3 or 4 archers to really compete quite well with this small army of Donso. I think he's got about 7 or 8. Yeah, 8 of them. And these militia eventually are going to time out. So Marine Lord, because he's already produced them, he's best off basically charging in with them now. Trying to at least draw in the Donso so the archers can start harassing. He's going to try and wrap around and snag one of these fishing boats if he can, or at least delay a bit of gather time there. Realistically, even with only 4 militia, it's only going to take, what, 3 bursts to bring down the boats, so Beastie eager to clean this up as soon as possible. Beastie now, again, small eco-pop lead there. Bearing in mind, town centre is going to scale up a lot longer. Bit of a risk bringing a lot of villagers like that, but at the same time it means he gets to get the dock up with ease and not risk really any single villager. But on top of that, I mean, but that also means he's going to take a lot of damage across all those villages. Sorry, pair of archers going to be able to just harass and kite the Donso should they turn around. Now with the Logi Galley, Marine Lord going to be able to take the fight to Beastie. Beastie having gone for hunting canoe there as well. That transport ship, man, it's really putting in the work. But Beastie eager to make sure that no demo ship can interrupt his evening here. Doesn't want to lose that transport ship. Actually, sorry, it was Beastie's transport demo ship. So the dock there for Marine Lord falling. Or Beastie has both his pit mines now. In fact, he's even going for this mining camp very early here. Like, it's not like he's going to run out of gold here for a long time, so There is a tiny, I guess, suboptimal component to the build there. Because it's setting him back 50 wood, bro. That could cost him the game. BC and nice. Water eco, so he's up to 8 fishing boats. Bear in mind, Marine Lord are going to be able to make a lot more than 8 villages out of this TC. It's Beastie. Ooh, he's still adding fishing boats, but he's probably only going to go to about 10 and then maybe take the first first fishing tech. Considering that there's no deep water schools of fish here, eventually all these shoreline fish are going to run out, so he's probably not going to want to over-invest here. It's really just trying to get as much of the boom out of this as possible. Stay competitive with the second town center while he goes towards his Age 3, his Farimba garrison. I suppose the idea of building the mining camp so early here is it saves having to pull the villager back, and Beastie's thinking over the long term. Like I said, it was suboptimal, but at the same time, this also cuts down on his walk time and means, you know, his overall gather time is higher. So maybe he's realized that he was probably safe to get away with investing that little bit of extra wood now. Well, yeah, he just beelines Age 3. Because with Farimba garrison, he's going to be able to not make pretty much any military he wants out of it in batches for a discount. Only problem is it's going to cost gold, but Mali has probably got the best gold eco in the game. So nice little defensive wall. They're going to stop these guys from getting harassed on the gold mine. BC just accruing everything he needs to really make good use of that Farimba garrison. He's actually going to go for archers over jab throwers. He's also going to have to keep fielding Donso because Marine Lord able to field knights early on here. And also going to be working towards his own H3. Ooh. Can he get the villager? No! Militia harassing over this other gold mine. Batch of archers will be able to clean these guys up pretty easily. Abbey the Trinity, a lot of villagers going into that to get that finished up quickly. I think it'll be worth it because Marine Lord will be able to get those nice cheap warrior monks and try and get control of these relics. Give him the nice free gold trickle that is basically innately built into Malians. Well, Beastie, if he gets a hold of the relics on top of having all the pit mines, it sort of becomes hard to keep up in the gold generation. And you'll find that you've really got to try and control the gold mines a lot more as the opponent. Or try and start on a market eco, which, while there is trade posts for both players here, not sure if the distance is all that good without being particularly dangerous here. Sort of restricted having it right back here. Sort of got to wall off all this. In, say, Marine Lord's case, he's just trying to keep tabs on the map and maybe deny the wall off the sniper villager or two here. So Marine Lord's Age 3's kicked in. Beastie prepared, so he's already producing imams. Wants to get control of the relics. Marine Lord gonna make some warrior monks and do the same there. So Beastie snatching up a relic, finishing his wall off. Ooh, is that gonna convert in time? It's a bit of a bait in a way because there's a lot of archers there that'll be able to pick off the warrior monk quite easily. They're nowhere near as tanky as, say, a knight. I believe they're only a light armored unit. Yeah, man. Retreat. Able to retreat safely there. There's pretty heavy archer comps here. I don't know if they'll be looking to stick with this as time goes on. Now that they're both in castle, at least he is going to go for poisoned arrows though, so it's an almost 700 resource investment in the archers. Rus player can go for, say, crossbowmen instead of the archers. I guess against Mali, they've got a lot more in the way of just light units. Like, I don't think Musafati are heavy. And at this stage, Beastie's not going for Sofa at all. Has gone for 2 mosques just to really ramp up that in-man production if he needs. And on top of that, if he gets a hold of more than 3 relics, he can spread it across the 2 structures. So Marine Lord gonna grab Sacreds. Force Beastie to have to come out onto the map and put some pressure on him to take them back. It's kind of weird after, you know, mostly playing the game in the era before Mali and making archers beyond feudal age is honestly such a huge risk in just about any other matchup. Whereas here, you know, Mali doesn't really have access to an anti-heavy armor archer, while Rus, because they're playing into a civ that doesn't have that, you know, and is going to build a fairly light composition because of Musafati warriors being light armored, while regular man-at-arms and palace guards are heavy armored. And Rus player is even going to be able to stick with the archers a lot longer than he normally would because they are a little bit cheaper than the crossbows. So if you don't necessarily need the crossbows for the armor penetration, then I guess you're probably best off just massing archers. So we're seeing the unit that normally tends to fall off the fastest in Castle in any other matchup, being the backbone of most XV Mali matchups as such. Players really starting to trickle a lot of armory upgrades here, so got 2 range damage upgrades for the Marine Lord, and he's going to get the second of his ranged armor. Beastie going for his second range damage, so he's a bit, or not, actually he's slightly more than 1 upgrade behind in that respect. Textiles, Marine Lord going for that now. So I mean, it's more expensive than Loom, but I don't believe it actually takes longer to produce than a villager, so on civs other than, say, China with Song Dynasty, it's probably worth getting textiles. Because in terms of production, I mean, train time, it's the same as a villager, and then I think the cost is 150 resources overall. So I mean, realistically, if you save 3 villagers, the tech's been worth it. Sorry, I mean, if you save 4 villagers, the tech's definitely been worth it. Bit of an engagement here. Sofa, slightly weaker than a regular knight. But bearing in mind, the bulk of both players' armies is just in the ranged component here. The Beastie having a kite quite well here because we see no real front line for him anymore now that the Sofa have gone down, while there are still a handful of knights for Marine Lord, and they are in Castle Age tech, so it'll take a number of archers to bring them down, but Beastie does have the poison attack on his hits here, so that will work a little in his favour. And on top of that, now that he's brought down the front line of Marine Lord, it's actually looking quite juicy here for him. He's really gaining a bit of ground. Marine Lord a bit slow to get these 4 knights into the action here. Oh, Sofa trickling in here for Beastie as well. So mangonel production starting for Marine Lord. It's going to make it tough for Beastie to try and take the engagements he was, and he's going to have to really rely on switching to line formation just to minimize the amount of damage he's going to take from the area damage siege component of his opponent's army. And it's funny, whoever seems to have the melee here is the one that's got all like the pushing momentum. Oh, it's interesting from Beastie. He's eager to try and wear out this gold mine because he knows if he loses ground here, if he can mine this out, it's going to cost Marine Lord, you know, all that gold. And put that pressure on, maybe force Marine Lord even to having to go for traders earlier than he otherwise would. Because, I mean, he hasn't pit mined it, so he, like, obviously it's not the safe one. He's got 3, even 4 safer gold mines to go for. Heck, even 5 safer gold mines to go for than this one here. But he can always pit mine the others and then fall back on gathering them. So I mean, he's already out of the East Gold mines, but there is still this one at the top. He could have been mining there, but instead opting to mine over here, just to put Marine Lord at a bit of a disadvantage of the map gold here, because Marine Lord, he's got these two smaller piles back here. Being Rus, he hasn't had to rely too much on the gold gathering so far, but the longer the game goes on, the more he'll need gold, particularly once he's making mangonels and knights. Looks like Beastie managing to snatch all 3 sacred sites, and on top of that he's 1 relic up on Marine Lord here at the moment. Like I said, his gold income, coupled with the fact that he's Mali, quite solid. Although in saying that, Mali tends to pump an awful lot of gold into light units. I mean, it's the regular civs as such. Really the only light unit that's going to cost an immense amount of gold is your crossbow production. And then, I mean, obviously, man-at-arms and knights, or, you know, lancers and palace guards, they're going to be a gold expensive heavy armor component. Realistically, this matchup, there's no need to really mass crossbows for Marine Lord, so engagement's going down now. Beastie is basically just producing archers, over 70 of the buggers there. Marine Lord even opting to go for horsemen rather than just pure knight production here, because, I mean, even though the archers may be able to deal a little bit more damage, being that these guys are light. Nice fight here for Beastie. Marine Lord's going to have to retreat. A lot of villagers on the run there. 42 of them, which is a pretty big blow to the economy, because it's really going to slow down Marine Lord's gathering in the meantime. But obviously, not losing the that many villages is infinitely preferable to losing them, regardless of a little bit of gather time loss. It's going to be hard for Beastie to keep pushing here though, because as much as he's doing really well with these archers, he's lost half the archer ball. And these guys are only light. They're not going to last too long under all the static defense with the town center and the Kremlin either side of the ball there. So Marine Lord able to recover quite well here. Oh, he still is at an army pop disadvantage overall. But having that frontline component does obviously give him that bit of breathing room to fight an uphill battle in terms of unit count. And in the background, the players are fighting over the sacred. So Marine Lord's managed to snatch up a sacred site, stopping that win condition of Beastie's there. At the same time, so we're probably going to lose that sacred site fairly quickly and have to get the warrior monk on the run. Beastie's whole army retreating from a single horseman there. He was the hero. He was the... Who's sort of like the Rus equivalent of Alex the Great? I have to look that up at some point. So it's a desperate battle for that bonus gold trickle there. You gotta risk it for the biscuit. How much do MMs actually cost? 150? Yeah, so realistically, for every MM you lose, you've got to hold the sacred site for what, a minute and a half? Aren't they just as strong as a relic at 100 gold per minute, right? So now players obviously both sides of the fence here, spending a bit on their cavalry to try and maintain control and deny the other sacred sites. Marine Lord going for a fairly defensive keep. Well, he's trying to do a bit of harass here. Not really able to get a lot done. He's going to kill a couple of militia, but just about it. Marine Lord getting an awful lot in the way of siege here, while Beastie just relying on range with a small sprinkling of cavalry in the mix. Bearing in mind, all these scouts from Mali going to be no more tanky than a regular scout, but they will do a lot more damage. Nice little raid here from Marine Lord. And he's actually well up on that Vil count over Beastie at the moment. But as our players get closer and closer to that population, it starts to become tough for Marine Lord because, you know, he'll get to a point where he can no longer produce units, but Beastie can just keep ramping up the army size. So having that town center lead over your opponent is a double-edged sword, really. While it does let you, boom up in this position, Beastie is eventually going to be able to hit a critical mass that Marine Lord's not going to be able to deal with unless he cuts villages, or unless Beastie then catches up in villages. Nice raid here from Marine Lord, gonna get a couple of vills and force Beastie to have to retreat once again. And he's putting the pressure on the sacred site, so we're going to see Marine Lord have potentially that sacred site win con on the way. So Beastie's eager to try and clean one of these up though. Oh, and those mangonels sitting out like that, these guys quite pricey and quite slow. Not going to be very hard for these warrior scouts and Sofa to clean up. The Springalds going down as well. So very nice attack there by Beastie. So put Marine Lord on the back foot a little. Over on the top side. Harass attempt by Marine Lord. Not really going to get a lot done. Beastie trying to burn his way through. Marine Lord. It's Archibald. It's on the job. Going to be able to repel this attack. Even against their counters, because I mean they've got the safety of the gate and a little bit of a front line for them. But Beastie just trying to be active on both sides of the map here. Really forces his opponent to split up his army and also interrupt the eco as much as possible. So yeah, there's a big eco lead here in terms of the population for Marine Lord, but I do think it's a bit deceptive. And then on top of that, like I said, the army pop gap is really quite immense here. So Beastie cleaning up a couple more workers and retreating there. Really nice stuff. Trying to min-max the amount of damage he's getting done to Marine Lord's eco. Trying to mount another nice push here to cut off another part of that farm eco. Because I mean, without any, fishing or the fishing's all done for Beastie, but without really any fishing or hunts or berries on the map, there's sort of no option other than farming here at the moment for our players. Marine Lord has gone to Imperial Age through all this pressure though, so he's done well to defend and tech up in the meanwhile. Beastie is still pushing his back up against the wall as such. If he can take out a significant chunk of this eco, put himself in the position to just put down an offensive keep and clean up here, but Marine Lord is really even things up in terms of the military count here, as Beastie sort of perhaps overextended here trying to clean up all of these villages. He's going to get more and more of them, but GG. Beastie actually tapping out there because that sort of killing blow push ended up being a bit of an overcommitment for him. So Marine Lord able to take game number 1.